Hey love, I'm Sharr Smith, intuitive energy alchemist and spiritual teacher. Welcome to Journey to Self, an emotional wellness and self-discovery podcast here to ask the powerful questions so you can reveal the true potential that exists in all things for yourself, like your life, your business, and your manifestations. Journey to Self is your reliable resource for learning how to adapt and overcome. Each episode, we cover topics that allow you to hold space for yourself and pay attention to where your thoughts are building momentum. This is so you can take control and transmute the energies of stress, anxiety, and even burnout and begin to create a happy, healthy, and balanced life.
All right, so let's just go ahead and dive right into it. So today we are talking about overcoming intense guilt and shame for sensitive souls. So the first thing you need to know, understand, and commit to memory is that sacrificing yourself and your own needs to make other people comfortable is not you being humble or compassionate. It's you being manipulated and avoidant. Being humble is a huge disservice to you, your well-being, and your mind, body, and spirit. As sensitive souls, we want so badly to be seen and recognized as compassionate and easygoing, with this idea in mind that it will somehow make it easier for us to be connected and have people want to be or stay connected to us. But there is a huge fucking problem with this. For one, guilt is external and shame is internal. So when you avoid how you feel, you create unnecessary dis-ease in the body. In other words, you literally make yourself sick mentally, physically, emotionally, and even spiritually, right? It's you who ends up suffering. So this isn't about making someone else suffer in your place. Rather, it's about harmonious and balanced energetic exchange and the necessary accountability and responsibility required for them to nurture them and sustain them and complete them, okay? So speaking from personal experience, I can't tell you how many times I've swallowed my words for fear of hurting someone else's feelings, only to be stuck ruminating on what I should have, could have, would have, might have said, or to even worse, realize that they don't give a damn about how their words, actions, and behaviors affect me and my well-being in return. I had to realize that this wasn't being kind. I was being avoidant. I was avoiding the sadness I felt around how I was or wasn't being treated or considered. I was avoiding confrontation and the possibility of losing whatever relationship or connection and or people that I felt like would walk away or leave if I said how it was that I felt or, whatever I needed to express. I was operating from a place of sadness and exacerbating that sadness with stories that I was creating about what that sadness meant specifically about me. When in actuality, the sadness wasn't saying that there's something wrong with me specifically. It was communicating that there was an issue with the way that I was being treated, meaning that the energy exchange happening was not conducive to my well-being. The energetic exchange being experienced was creating dis-ease, aka a disruption in my natural flow of energy, my ability to feel safe, sane, and secure, as well as function, right? So when you avoid how you feel and or avoid being honest about what you feel, you are operating from a place of sadness, which is what manifests as feelings of guilt and also manifests as feelings of shame. And we can clearly see this in see this emotional pattern frequency on the wheel of emotions. This is why I constantly am referencing that particular tool and resource inside of energy codes and even Gemini school, and telling y'all to pull it out and use it so you can actually tangibly see what is happening with your emotions and understand what energetic codes you need to be relaxed and at ease, reconnect with your own truth, and then try to connect to people, places, and things that support you and your compassion, or create situations and experiences where your compassion is not taken for weakness or weaponized against you, okay? So when you base your relationships and your energetic exchanges on interconnectedness and stop being afraid of people leaving simply because you value yourself and honor your feelings, then you can easily relax and be at ease knowing that your feelings and emotions will be received without your sense of compassion being up for debate or being used as a manipulation tactic to get you to sacrifice your own needs for someone else's gain. So how then do we as sensitive souls, having this human experience, get to a place where we can actually say how we feel without feeling ashamed and guilty? The very first step is going to be identifying your human design empath type. Okay, so as quiet as it's kept, most people have their empath type all wrong. When you search empath types, Google or whatever, you see words such as physical, flora, geomantic, fauna, physical, psychic, Hayoka, etc., right? But these are not empath types specifically, but rather they are the energetic frequencies in which empathic energy is wired to be expressed. So this is the specific flow your empathic energy flows in and the specific data that energy is translated into when you're stimulated by your environment. So your actual empath type can be identified in human design. I'll be sharing more and teaching about this within the coming week or so. I think the content is scheduled for next week. But if you've been rocking with me for a while and you're already familiar, right? But you're either going to be an amplifier, a recycler, or a mirror empath type. Knowing your human design empath type will tell you exactly how you emotionally connect with others, the foundation of what you specifically need to feel emotionally safe so you can be relaxed at ease in any situation or around any person, place, or thing. And it's also going to tell you how to be compassionate without sacrificing your own energy. Okay? Your human design empath type is also going to show you why people emotionally seek you out. Now, in the next podcast episode or the next live, I'll be diving deeper into that particular portion for you as well in terms of why people are emotionally seeking you out. But your empath type in human design also outlines exactly how to protect your specific and unique energy. So this includes what it looks like for you to transmute painful energetic experiences like guilt and shame, as well as how to leverage what you and other people are getting out of your sense of compassion and empathic abilities, okay? So this portal for you to step through if you want to learn about it now instead of waiting until I talk more about it, is going to be located on my website, and it's called the Empath Human Design Guide. The link for that will be in the description below or the show notes below once I upload this to the podcast, okay? But you can always find the link in my bio if you're listening live now and want to go take a look. The second step for how you're going to overcome intense guilt and shame is you're going to explore your Chiron placements in both astrology and human design. And if you are a high achiever, which if you're in my energetic aura field, you likely are, you can also explore this in gene keys as well. But if you're unaware, Chiron is in astrology, it represents your wounded healer. This is both the emotional wound that you carry in this lifetime, as well as your greatest gifts and ability to turn that pain into wisdom in medicine. So wisdom is the application and integration of knowledge. This means that once you understand your Chiron wound without the story and negative self-talk of it meaning something specifically about you, you can then integrate that wisdom to protect your peace and filter out connections with people who don't deserve access to your gifts and compassion. Now, if you're interested in an in-depth guidance and support regarding your Chiron placement and you just are somebody who's like, I don't want to try to sit here and piece all the things together, then the portal I have open for you for that is my audio recordings inside of Thriving in the Shadows. Again, the link for that will be listed for you in the description box or show notes below, okay? But the human design and gene key insights for your Chiron placement will give you the groundwork for how to begin challenging what you believe and consequently feel so that you can break free of the emotional loops and painful experiences tied to whatever your Chiron wound is. So for example, my Chiron is in Cancer. And so this is the emotional wound of being abandoned and rejected. And so once I step outside of all of the stories and negative self-talk that I was telling myself about people leaving or people rejecting me or not wanting to hear what I had to say, that's when I was able to turn the insight into medicine and find confidence and be able to do things like be live here on Substack with you now, all right? The next step to overcoming guilt and shame for us, the sensitive souls, is simply just developing a backbone for being disliked. This one honestly was hard for me at first, particularly because I spent most of my life as quote unquote the black sheep, right? So if you've been following me and rocking with me for a while, then you already know my story of surviving the shadows of being bullied and the toll it took on my life. It just wasn't easy, but I had to understand and realize that I wasn't being called the black sheep because I actually was one. I was being ostracized because I was simply in the wrong environment. Now, something that helped me shift my perspective and really anchor this mindset in was coming across a interview that 50 Cent, the rapper 50 Cent, that he did a few years back. And I honestly think it's in his book as well, because the interview was for him doing his book tour. Anyway, I digress. It was an interview that 50 Cent did a few years back talking about the example of how a bottle of water increases or decreases in value depending on the environment in which it's being sold. So in the dollar store, it might sell for $1 or $2, right? But in the theme park, you're going to easily pay around $5, maybe $8. And at an airport or a major artist concert, it'll easily run you $10 plus, right? So your environment is quite literally the key to your success or your detriment, but you first have to have the awareness to do anything about it. You being compassionate isn't the problem, okay? The problem is where you are being compassionate and who you are giving access to that compassion in whatever environment it is that you find yourself in. So again, you sacrificing yourself and your own needs to make other people comfortable is not you being humble or compassionate. It's you being manipulated and avoidant. Stop fucking sacrificing yourself to make other people feel comfortable. Stop being humble and ignoring your own needs because it gets you nowhere and is not a fucking badge of honor, okay? The portals to help you overcome your guilt and intense shame are going to be listed for you below. Going through these portals one last time, the first portal is the Empath Human Design Guide. That is going to tell you emotionally how you connect to others. It's going to give you the foundation for what you need to feel emotionally safe so you can be relaxed and at ease in any situation or around any person, place, or thing. And it's also going to tell you how to be compassionate without sacrificing your well-being. The second portal that I mentioned for you, if you are, in a place where you want help navigating and figuring out the emotional wound of your Chiron placements, is called Thriving in the Shadows. And so that's the collection of audio recordings that I've already created and posted available for you on the website. So it's going to go over both the emotional wound that you carry in this lifetime, as well as your greatest gift and ability for turning that pain into wisdom. And this is also where you're going to explore your Chiron placements, the meanings and insights, and get the groundwork for how to begin challenging what you believe and consequently feel, so it's easier for you to break free of the emotional loops and painful experiences that are actually tied to making you feel that intense guilt and shame, okay? All right, my love, that is all I have for you today, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for tuning in, and it's been a phenomenal pleasure. All right, bye.
Thanks so much for listening to Journey to Self, your #1 resource for emotional wellness and self-discovery, helping you learn how to adapt and overcome. Scroll down, press play, and meet me in the next episode. Bye, love.